welcome back to So You Really Want to Learn Latin, and today we are going to be coming to the end of chapter 4 in the great book, and we will be looking at verbs of hoping, promising and threatening. And you won't be very surprised to hear, I'm sure, that these are going to be closely connected to our new friend, the indirect statement, or more correctly, the accusative and infinitive construction. When you do have one of these verbs of hoping, promising and threatening, when those verbs are followed by the English word to, in other words, I hope to go to school, I promise to go to school, or I threaten to take you to school, these verbs are followed in Latin by an accusative and infinitive construction, and the infinitive that we use is the future infinitive. Okay, that's the important bit. And just to complicate things, we also need a reflexive pronoun. Because when you say something like, I hope to conquer the Carthaginians, okay, I mean, it's pretty obvious what you might think the Latin for that would be, but I'm not even going to go there because it isn't that. We're going to need this new construction that we're learning now, which is a reflexive pronoun and the future infinitive. So, I hope to conquer the Carthaginians. What you actually have to do is turn that into, I hope me to be about to conquer the Carthaginians. Okay? So, I hope to conquer the Carthaginians is going to be spero, for I hope, me, poinos, superatorum esse, or victorum esse. Okay? So it kind of definitely isn't what you would expect. You wouldn't have put in a reflexive pronoun, I don't suppose, and you'd have used just a present infinitive, and you would have been wrong. Okay, so as always, you're not going to know this stuff until someone tells you, but once you've been told, be on the lookout for it. So again, if you had something like, he promised to return, okay, what we're going to need is, he promised himself to be about to return. Okay, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but that is the way the Romans did it. So he promised to return is promisit se reventorum esse. Okay, he promised himself to be about to return. Now, I would be amazed if the first time you were asked to translate into Latin, one of these little expressions, you're pretty likely to just forget this construction. But of course, most of the time, you're just going to be seeing it in Latin, so don't be spooked when you see a reflexive pronoun followed by a future infinitive, all coming after a verb of promising or threatening or hoping. Okay, so we'll just have a little bit of practice at that. We are, as I say, in chapter 4 here. So I'll just whiz through a couple of these. We have pater speravit se mox redditorum esse. Okay? Pater speravit, the father hoped, se mox redditorum esse. The father hoped that he would soon return. So do you see what's going on there? We've got a verb of hoping, promising or threatening, used with a reflexive pronoun and a future infinitive. Okay, we'll do another one. Filia regis promisit se intramuros mansuram esse. Okay, Filia regis, the daughter of the king, promisit, promised, se intramuros mansuram esse, that she, mansuram esse, would remain intramuros, within the walls. Okay? The daughter of the king promised that she would remain within the walls. Okay, and one more. Miles promisit se donum filiabus datorum esse. Miles promissit, the soldier promised, say that he, datorum esse, would give, donum, a gift, filiabus, to his daughters. Okay. Don't forget, by the way, filia, the Latin for a daughter, it's a first declension noun, like mensa, but because the dative and ablative plural, if left to their own devices, would be filiis, and filiis would look identical to the dative and ablative plural of the Latin noun filius, a son, okay? Filia, very sort of chivalrously, or, kindly in some sort of way, changes its endings so that there will be no confusion. And it kind of flips into the third declension and goes filiabus, filiabus instead of filiis, filiis. Bit peculiar. Dea, a goddess, does exactly the same thing to prevent it getting confused with deus, a god. Okay, and then we're just going to go the other way, just to really force this home. Number 1 of exercise 4.17. We hoped to watch the charge of the cavalry. So that's going to become, we hoped, us, to be about to watch the charge of the cavalry. Okay, so we hoped, speravimus, or sperabamus, whichever you prefer. Us, nos, to be about to watch, spectatoros esse. Okay, so that's your future infinitive, and it's in the accusative because it's agreeing with the nos, which is part of this accusative and infinitive. Okay, so speravimus, nos, spectatoros esse, and then the charge of the cavalry, impetum equitum. And because those are, the direct object, they will come before that infinitive. So you'd end up with speravimus, nos, impetum equitum, spectatoros esse. Okay, and I'll just do one more. We've got Aeneas promised to build a new city in Italy. Okay, Aeneas, that's his name, promised, promissit, to build. So we need say, he promised himself, edificatorum esse, that's to be about to build, a new city, urbem noam, in Italy, in Italia. Aeneas promissit, say, urbem noam, in Italia, edificatorum esse. Okay, now they're rather kind of wonderful constructions, really, very sort of lyrical, if you like. I love future infinitives and future participles. I love that urus noise. But as I said, that's not a construction that would sort of be obvious to anyone if they hadn't been told. It's certainly not the way we do it in English. But now that you know, be on the lookout for it. And that brings us to the end of chapter 4. And next time, we are going to be coping with a brand new thing, a whole new area involving the subjunctive. Okay, so we'll talk more about that next time. But until then, keep up the good work. Do subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you back here on this channel very soon.